Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to yet another episode of the 3 and the 13 show. I'm 3, jersey number 3, Varun.
And I am 13, jersey number 13, Raghav.
So today on the show, we've got yet another Olympic medalist. The gentleman represents Canada, but was born in Jamaica, and he runs like the wind. That I can assure you of. He's won the Olympic bronze medal at the Rio de Janeiro Olympic Games in the 4x100 meters men's relay. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, put your hands together for Akeem Haynes.
Hello.
So Akeem, as we all know, you have had a tough childhood, as we can say. You were born in Jamaica, moved to Canada when you were 10, and then you were without a home when you were 13. So what motivated you the most during these times, and what role did sports play in overcoming these challenges?
That's a great question. For me, what motivated me those times and what I learned during my stages of homelessness, I learned the power of gratitude, right? I became so self-aware of all the things that I had in my life. It wasn't a lot at the time, but I had a pair of shoes. I was thankful for that. I had laces in my shoes. I had a shirt. I had a jacket. It was the middle of winter time, so we were staying at the bus stop. And even though we were cold, we weren't extremely cold. So I was very grateful for that. I was very grateful that I had my mom with me, that I wasn't going through those stages of homelessness by myself. Right? So I was very grateful of that. And in those moments, what kept me going and what that time showed me was the power of being grateful and thankful for everything that you have. If you aren't appreciative and thankful of all that is in your possession, what makes you think that you are going to be worthy of more? You got to be grateful for what you have. Part 2 of that question, sports. So I didn't start playing sports like that until after the homeless aspect of things. But, it really just taught me to just never take anything for granted. You never know how quickly things can go your way, but it can also leave your way just as quickly. So it really just showed me that I got to make the most out of every single opportunity that I get.
So Akeem, you've been to the Olympics twice now, 2012 and 2016. From participating to winning an Olympic medal. How's been your journey?
So in 2012, I was there. I was an alternate. I think I just turned 19 years old, so I was pretty young. But 4 years later, I was 24 now. I was a lot older, a lot more wiser. I'd like to think so, right? But a lot more experienced. And so it was exciting. It was exciting to see the fact that was Canada's best Olympic Games, I want to say maybe ever. It's been a long time coming for Canada in general to be able to win as much medals as we did at the Olympic Games, right? And what was so special about that Games as well, too, was not only did we come away with the bronze medal, and, we beat the Americans. I got a lot of friends on the American squad, so it's all good. But we also broke the Canadian record at that time. Right? We were the fastest Canadian 4x1 team ever. That's pretty crazy considering who was on that team at the 96 Olympic Games. So it was an exciting time. I was excited to just be a part of it. But I also knew that 4 years later, from 2012 to 2016, that we came there and we were on a mission. You know what I'm saying?
Akeem, one word that truly oozes out of you is hard work. You attended the University of Alabama with full scholarship, and then despite many injuries you were selected in the All-American team and also went for the Olympics. So what is it that you have in you that you never stop working hard?
For me, I've always just had this thing inside of me where I always believe that I had to work 6 times as hard as the average person. I know, right? 6 times. I never believed that twice was enough for me because I was already at a disadvantage, right? Growing up in Jamaica, I grew up tough. I grew up rough. I grew up in crime. I grew up in violence, right? There was a lot of things that a kid should never see. I've probably seen more things and have been through more things in my life than somebody who may be 60, 70 years old, right? And so for me, during that time, I kind of just realized, man, if anything is going to happen in my life, effort is going to be the one thing that helps me get there, right? Effort changes situations. So for me, I just knew at a very early age that I wasn't as talented as everybody else, but I knew I had to do triple the work. And I knew I had to put in effort every single day, right? And I had to create these habits that would help me on the days when I was tired. So I just told myself, Akeem, no matter what happens, you got to just continue pressing forward, continue moving, and continue training. Continue trying to keep a positive attitude as best as you can, but just know that you are going to have to do more, which makes me equipped to handle adversity, right? Sometimes we think that because we have to do more than the average person, that's just us working harder, right? Like when adversity comes and hits us, the hard work that you've done because you've had to put in more effort towards something in order to achieve a result means you're more equipped to handle adversity and trials and tribulations than you think. So for me, that's kind of the hustling aspect of things. I just knew I had to work 6 times as harder. I didn't make excuses. I just went and I just did it.
2018, you signed on for the Hamilton Tiger Cats in the Canadian Football League as a wide receiver. So how was your transition from the track and field to a pro club in Canada?
You know, I always believed that I could play professional football. I was a dual sport athlete in high school, and my main sport was honestly football, right? Like, I just didn't understand why track and field was everybody's punishment. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody, like, who wants to go and run suicides? You know what I'm saying? But, for me, I knew that I would always come back to football. And so when I retired from track and field, I said, I got some opportunities that came my way in the football sense. So I said, if I'm going to go ahead and take these opportunities, then I got to make sure that I fully prepare myself in order to seize and take advantage of the opportunity. So I had to switch my mindset from, trying to run in a straight line to running a straight line, but also trying to move past a defender and trying to catch a ball. So I had to, do different things. I had to I put on 7 more pounds, 8 more pounds. No, I put on like 9 more pounds. I usually compete at about 162, 163. But when I was transitioning to football, I bulked up to 172, 173, around there. I didn't want to get too big because I still wanted to be fast. So, I put on a decent amount of weight, and my body just became a little bit, I guess, more sculpted, that you could say. But the hardest part for me wasn't necessarily the mental aspect of things. It was more physical in order to get ready for it. Then when I got to training camp and I got to Hamilton, it was the playbooks. I hadn't read a playbook in so long. Like it was like X's and it was like reading the alphabet. I was like, what is all this happening about? But, I had to re-dial in and retrain my mind to understand the scenery and especially the language of football all over again. But, like anything, you just got to continue moving forward and continue pressing and just controlling what you can. I tried not to stress about the things that I didn't know. I asked my teammates, if they could help me. And, I just roll with it. The transition, physically getting ready for it, that was kind of the easy part. But once I actually got to the Hamilton Tiger Cats organization, the mental side of learning the playbook all over again was something that I knew that I was going to have to work on every single day.
So Akeem, tell us about the book you wrote, Love, Life and Legacy. What inspired you to write it? I mean, for an athlete writing a book, that's not a very common thing that we hear.
So at the time when I was writing Love, Life, and Legacy, I remember thinking about writing Love, Life, and Legacy, or writing a book in general. I remember going to class and I was reading this science textbook. So boring, right? Like, nothing wrong for those who like science. It just wasn't for me. But I said, man, if this person could write a textbook like this, then I think I can write a book. I had no idea what it even looked like, the steps looked like to write a book. Not one sense of idea or direction. But something inside of me said, if they can do it, then I can do it too. I just got to figure out the ins and outs of how to do it. It went from that thought to if I write this book, then my siblings coming up, they will be able to see it. And if they want to write a book, then they will know that it's possible, right? So then another thought came to my mind. I said, man, if I write this book, then when I have kids of my own, that if they want to write a book one day, then they can see that their dad wrote the book. So I started to think about not just myself, which is why I included the word legacy in it, because I wasn't thinking about myself, right? So the books that I continue to write, I just thought, if I can write one book, then I can write two. If I can write three, then I can write four. And it's 2020 right now, and the fourth book is done. They're both in the editing stages, my two new ones, right? So for me, I'm all about legacy, right? Like for us in life, what are the things that we can leave behind that embodies us? There's an essence and a spirit about every single individual, right? We all know that person that we meet and we say, man, like this person's coming. Oh, I don't want to talk to this person. This person's annoying, right? But then on the other hand, we know somebody else who, because we hear their name, we can't wait to talk to them. Like something about their presence and their essence puts us in a better mood, right? Nobody wants to be around the first person. Nobody wants to be around the negative person. How can we be more like the second person? Right? So for me, I've always modeled my life in everything that I did to create an essence and a presence about me that would leave a lasting positive legacy for those coming up behind me.